82% of coaches, coaching businesses, coaching practices, solo practices fail within their first 2 years. Why is that? Because they run out of money. They run out of, it's not about the expertise of the coach. They're not a bad coach. It's none of that. It's the fact that they've not been able to commercialize how they deliver their coaching. So I've found this many, many times. People have come from, say, a corporate background. They've been very good at leadership development within a company, or they've been very good at in HR and people management and done a lot of great work, or even they've had a lot of great coaching themselves and feel inspired. And they go through their kind of ICF and they get all of these credentials. And then the reality bites of having to actually acquire clients, talk about fees and money, and actually capture leads. And it all gets a little bit difficult. So what I want to do is actually walk you through all the things that are involved in making that work. So by the end of this session, you're going to know what you need to do to actually get coaching clients. And I will, obviously, a lot of coaches come onto our social accelerator because we help them implement. Hi, Ray from Central Florida. I wish I was in Central Florida right now. The weather here in the UK is not great. It's a little chilly. But that whole skill set of coaching, the training you get for coaching does not prepare you for the commercial realities of what you need to do to actually, acquire those clients. So I have a little model I want to show you. I'll bring it up on my screen in a second. So let me just bring this up because many of you will say, and I've had so many conversations with coaches where they've said to me, Dean, I've had so much business from people who've already worked with me and they've already had a great experience. And yet I struggle to get people to see that I'm good at what I do. And it's the age-old challenge of people don't know what they need until they've had it. And this isn't always true. I have this too, by the way. People think, oh, LinkedIn's easy. LinkedIn, I just go on there and I post a bit and I grow my network and I do a few things and it'll all come together. That's what people think. And one of my frustrations, and this, you may be able to relate to this, one of my frustrations is it's not as straightforward as just showing up and having a go. And for a coach, if you're a coach watching me today, you'll have this same challenge of people don't realize they need me until often after they've procured your services, until after they've had a coaching session. And so this is the challenge, is we're trying to sell something sometimes that people don't realize they need. And I'm going to walk you through how to understand that. It's a bit tricky, but we'll have a go. Normally I'll do this in a one-to-one session with somebody on our accelerator, but I want to just explain why for many coaches, it's very difficult to sell what they do. So this is what I call my OHMS framework. And the OHMS framework is very simple. It's about reducing the resistance between you and your prospective clients. So trying to remove the tension and the difficulty between you and your target audience. That's really, really important that we understand that the harder we make it for people to see the value of what we've got to offer, or the more unclear we make it, the more difficult it is to get leads, the more difficult it is to get clients. I know that's a no-brainer, but when I go to a profile in a moment and I show you this on LinkedIn, you will suddenly go, oh my God, I've been doing this. So the first part of this framework, we'll get into the LinkedIn and the practicalities of it in a minute, but I need to get through this because it's really important. I have seen so many people miss this, dive straight into the tactics I'm going to show you and fail. And if you don't take this bit in, you will fail. So the first bit is we've got to simplify the value, and that comes in many concepts, many elements, but I'll give you two elements. People don't buy coaching. They do not care about coaching. Right now, your target audience are not thinking maybe I need a coach. It's not even even on their radar. They're thinking right now, how do I solve this immediate problem I've got in my career, in my way of thinking, the kind of endless loop I go in, the negative self-talk I've got. They are thinking about what's stopping them achieving something. They're thinking about something almost, if you think about it, the symptom of the root cause. They are obsessed with, frustrated with the symptom. They lost that job. They didn't get the pay rise. They didn't go for that goal. They're avoiding things. They're afraid. They're second guessing themselves. They're thinking about the outworking of the root cause. So they're not thinking maybe I need to work on my mindset. And if you're a coach, I'm just going to say this, and hopefully you don't get upset with me. Often coaches will spend time with other coaches, and there's nothing wrong with that. But what it does is it ends up where you're so in your own industry, you stop thinking like the real world. And if you think about it with referrals, yeah, you've got somebody coming to you who's been recommended and said, "Oh, you've got that problem. I had that problem. I had a problem with my time management. I had a problem with my productivity. I had a problem with my motivation. You should go see Steve or John or Mary or whoever, because they coached me and they helped me fix it. So when you think about a referral, the conversation about what the problem they see, the physical problem they see, has happened with your referee. And the referee has said, hey, you need coaching to fix that because that worked for me. So now when you get a referral, they're already sold on coaching to solve the problem. Hopefully this is making sense. When you're dealing with people and you're trying to market your services, you have to appeal to people based on the problem they see and show them, not tell them, show them that coaching is the way to solve it. This is a skill you have to develop, because I know I want to talk about the accelerator all day long, but my prospects, my perfect fit leads and clients do not give a crap about my accelerator until they see how it solves their problem. Hopefully I'm making sense. Feel free to put questions in the chat as we go. Yeah. So I have to think about this not from the point of view of, oh, they're already sold on coaching. I have to assume they're not sold on coaching. I have to assume that they have a problem. Hi, Mark from West London. I have to assume they have a problem that they see right in front of them and they are struggling with it. Hi, Fernando from Sarasota. So we're all over the world today. Sarasota's California, I think. Basingstoke, Laura Evans. So I have to talk to people about the problem they see, not the problem they've really got. And then I have to show them that coaching is just a vehicle, a tool to get them there. If I overvalue the tool, if I overemphasize the tool, I'm missing the point. And I want to show you something on LinkedIn now for a second. So I'm going to go to LinkedIn for a moment. And I want to show you when I'm doing one-to-one sessions with coaches about their lead generation, one of the first things I'm focused on with them, one of the first things I'm looking at with them is actually whether they've got the clarity in their own mind. And I realize I'm stepping into coaching territory here a little bit, but if you don't have clarity in your own mind about what you're selling, the problem you're solving, and who you're solving it for, that lack of definition of what's my offer, who's my audience, what problem am I solving, and who am I solving it for, and how am I going to deliver a solution to that? So there's three things. What's the problem? Who's got the problem? And how do I fix it? If those three things are not clearly defined in your own mind, that lack of clarity will come out in your profile, your connection strategy, your content strategy, outreach strategy, if you're doing it, that lack of clarity in your own mind comes out onto LinkedIn. And so what you will do is you will default to talking about what you know, and you'll say, I help people, I'm a coach, and I help people with this, but it won't be clear for people. So here's what I do when I'm doing a one-to-one coaching session with a coach. I will say, can I see in this section and in the banner, because these are the prime sections, they look at this first, in these two sections, can I see what problem you're solving? So that if I'm your prospect and I come to the platform and I stumble across your profile, I know you're for me. I know you're for me. So it's not really about this is who I am. It's this is who I'm for. Now, that lack of clarity, which is the first O of the OHMS, the value obvious, I have to talk to my target audience, show them I've got a problem, show the problem and show the solution. I've got a solution, a pathway to fix it. I can fix it. If you're not making that value obvious, people will browse past you. The right people will browse past you and go, nice person. And then they'll buy from somebody else who is clear. So that extends to this bit first, but then it extends down to here. Now, you might not have a premium account, so you might not have this services feature in the same way that I've got here with all the graphics. But if you're not making it clear, and this is very important, for somebody to buy from you, to buy your coaching, number one, it's about trust. And we'll come to that in the tactics, trust building. It's about trust, but it's also about awareness. If people don't know how they can buy from you, if you make it hard for people to understand what they can buy from you, guess what happens? They don't make any inquiries. I have found, and I go through coaches' profiles a lot, and I look and I go, I can't tell if you've got a one-to-one program. I can't tell you if you've got a cohort program. I can't tell you if you're just for corporate. I have no idea. So if I'm looking and going, I'd love to know if they can help me, people are not just going to blanket inquire and go, I'm not sure if this is, they don't want to look like an idiot. So actually, if you put your programs out, if it's one-to-one, if it's group, if it's corporate, if you use these spaces to actually uh, help people see what your programs look like, what problems you solve, you take a load of friction away. Now, the counter argument, which comes from a fear and a scarcity approach, is, well, if I put my stuff out there, what if somebody wants something different? What if somebody wants something different? And so what we end up doing is trying to go, well, I don't want to lose an opportunity to do something bespoke because I've laid out something specific. So that lack of certainty, that fear of missing out, basically confuses people. And instead of you thinking, oh, well, I'm actually being really clear and helping people see how they can work with me and making it easy, you worry about this imagined scenario where somebody wants something more bespoke, comes to your profile, sees something specific and goes, well, they won't do that. And that's not how it works. How it works is this. Somebody comes to your profile, sees that you do this and go, let me have a look at that. Oh, it doesn't quite fit. Maybe they do something more bespoke and they'll inquire. So what you end up doing is avoiding losing out to random situations you've invented. You give nobody any clarity. So people don't know what you do, and they will need to see what you do to get comfortable to buy it. They would need to see your services 7 or more times to feel comfortable about going, maybe we should do this. Maybe this would work for us. Maybe this would work for me. So if I go to your profile and I can't see the problem you solve anywhere, or particularly in that top half, and if I can't see in your featured section, here's how you can work with me, or any case studies or testimonials, I know that's a red flag in your mind. You are unclear or you are avoiding populating this area for fear of losing out. So you are in fact losing out. So the fact that your fear of losing out means you are losing out. So let me come back to the next one. We are going to go into tactics in a second. The next one is the high intent audience. And this is another way your fear of losing out will make you lose out. So the trying to avoid losing out actually makes you. Who are the people you can help the most? Have you defined them? Now, you'll say yes, but when I prod a little bit, and if this was a Zoom call right now and I prodded, you would find that when I start to prod you about your target audience, it would start to get pretty woolly pretty quick, because usually there are multiple types of personas. I'm not saying you try and sell to everybody, because I don't think anybody does that. But what they might have is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 personas. It could be this person, it could be this person, it could be this person, it could be this person. Now, you know that the problem, the underlying root cause problem is probably the same. You know as a coach that if somebody's struggling with their mindset, it does not matter whether it's manifesting with money, manifesting in their career. If it's a mindset issue, you can fix it. But it does matter on LinkedIn, because if somebody sees you talking about money mindset, they're not going to assume, well, maybe because you're talking about money mindset, you can help me with my career mindset. I won't go for the promotion. So every time you use one phrase for one persona, you alienate 4 or 5 other personas or 10 other personas, whatever it is. Every time you use examples and references to talk to the CEO about how they got high stakes, maybe there's a big merger going on, you alienate the solopreneur. Because you're one profile, you're one person, and you're trying to shape people's perception of you so that they see they need to buy from you. So every time you talk to the CEO, you alienate the solopreneur. Every time you talk to the HR person, you alienate the finance person. Now, there are some audiences that kind of have good overlap, but you can't really speak to people's situations and circumstances when all the circumstances are different. A CEO and a solopreneur, there's overlapping, they're both running businesses, but the problems will manifest differently. The mindset problem will mean maybe they quit the business, will be maybe they doubt themselves and they're hesitating making major decisions. Maybe they've hesitated on decisions and shareholders have questioned their role. Same issue, but it manifests differently in their day-to-day. And people pay attention to when you talk to their day-to-day situations. So who are the best fit clients for you? Who are the perfect fit clients for you? Why does this matter? Well, it matters for a couple of reasons. And I'll just flick to another slide to show you this, right? You're going to get leads. This process I'm going to show you in the rest of the session, you're going to get leads. So you capture a lead, right? You capture 10 leads from LinkedIn. And let's imagine one comes in for money mindset, one comes in for career, comes in for, you get my point. They're all coming in with slightly different roles, slightly different motivations. So you've got 5 different personas across 10 leads. Then you're going to book them into a call. And that's not as simple as saying, are you free to chat through? They will go cold, but we'll come to that in a little bit. So if you don't have the knowledge and the process of how you go, I've got a lead, how do I get to a call? If you don't have a plan of how to do that, and it sounds obvious, it sounds like, oh, I just send them an email and ask them to come to a call. No, there are many leads that will go cold because but just to ask them, shall we have a chat? And they will go cold. Not because they're not serious buyers, because of the way you communicated with them. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a bit. So you've got to get appointments. And on that call, you've got to talk to them, uncover their need and uncover their need and propose a remedy. Yeah. Propose how you can help them solve that problem. Yeah. Or proposal. And then you've got to convert that person into an actually assigned client. That's a process. So we think about LinkedIn as oh, if I get leads there, actually, you've got to know the whole process. Now, why am I telling you this? Because it's really nothing to do with LinkedIn, is it? Well, it is, right? If you're currently getting lots and lots of clients from referrals, right? Just being honest, I'll just tell you as I find it, you're probably not equipped to run this process yet. You're doing it and it's kind of working-ish, but you're not equipped to go, "What's the best way to get them onto a call?" So if I get 10 leads, I get 8 on a call, not 4. And if I do the call, with 8 people, what's the best way to uncover the need? So I get actually 6 of them proposed, my coaching. 2 of them weren't ready or it wasn't there. Okay, now I've got the 6 who have proposed the solution. How do I convert them so I get at least 3 of them closed? That's a process. And many coaches, if you've been reliant on referrals or associate work, you've not developed that skill set of understanding how to do that. Not you know how to do it, but do it so it's optimized for maximum conversion. Not pressure. Don't misread me. I'm not saying pressuring people. I'm saying so you do it well so that the person leaves motivated to sign up. That's a process. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I can't possibly talk about all of this. Because if you are talking to lots of different personas all at once, how do you figure out what works here? How do you figure out how do you get good at this? When every persona is a little bit different, HR manager, same problem, mindset, or self-sabotage or imposter syndrome or career coaching, but actually, how do you get good at doing that call? You see my point here? That if you are introducing lots of different personas into your sales process or your marketing process, you're actually requiring yourself to be a better salesperson. You are putting yourself under pressure to perform better as a salesperson. Whereas if you focus on one persona, 1 or 2 personas where the overlap is really strong, then you actually have the ability to improve that process with time. If you're doing 10 calls with similar personas, yeah, then you can learn very quickly what works and what doesn't. But if you're doing 10 calls with 10 personas, each call will flow a little different. And so that feeling of being psychic on the call, and you know what I mean, when you've had a conversation with somebody, it's like they already know you, they know your situation. Yeah, that gets harder because you're talking to multiple personas all at once. So your process on the back end gets harder. The conversion process gets harder because you've not defined a persona or personas with overlap. Yeah. Now, I'm telling you this because ultimately I want you to win clients here. And if you get this wrong, you increase the level of skill. And if you don't want to be a salesperson, if you don't want to have to go to a sales school, if you don't want to have all of this going on, you have to be very, very clear on the front end to make your life easier. So I have a system called LAPD, which I've shown you, and I track all of my calls on there, and I look at where did I fail? Where did it go wrong? Did I got the leads, but I didn't get them on the calls? So what did I do in the follow-up here? What did I do in the follow-up here that went wrong? Learn from that. Okay, I got the calls, but actually many of them were the proposals were wrong, or the proposals weren't, we didn't get to proposal stage. Okay, so obviously I look at what did I do on the call and did I get the right leads coming? Yeah. So now I can audit my activity and go, where's the point of failure? Where do I need to work on it? But if I've got multiple audiences coming in and multiple I'm trying to sell, it's a mess. It's a mess to try and do that, especially if you don't want to take all of your life and time up here. So this high intent audience becomes very important for streamlining and simplifying your ability to acquire clients. Now, some might say to me, Dean, aren't you saying niche down? Sort of, yes, I am. But I'm not telling you to become a niche down permanently. I'm saying niche down to get a system working. If you eliminate as many variables from the process as possible, you will be able to build a process that's repeatable and sustainable. And once you've done that, and you can do it in a small amount of time, this will take you half an hour a day. If you get this clarity in, half an hour a day of focus work on LinkedIn will get you leads and clients. But if you have all these variables, one, your headspace will be a mess. The clarity in your head will be a mess. knowing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis will be a mess. And so you've increased your own work, increased the confusion in your marketplace, the work. So that's the second one. Then the third one, this magnetize your message. Now I did a post recently about, or an article recently about LinkedIn's algorithm. It is definitely harder today to get content out there than it was 3-4 months ago. It's way more difficult. But so the days of easy reach on any social media platform are gone. Yeah. And most people I speak to, most coaches I speak to, are not interested in spending 2-3 hours on the platform each day. They want to, they've got clients to deliver for, and they didn't sign up to become a coach to spend their life on social media. They didn't sign up to be a coach to spend all their life marketing. So if you want to really resonate, instead of going after what everybody's telling you to do, this is how you go viral, these are the secret tips, all this kind of stuff, instead of trying to get on that kind of rat race, instead what you need to be doing is thinking about resonance. In other words, that you resonate. Now, because we know what problem we're solving, because we've made our value obvious, and we know what audience we're talking to, now what we can do is actually magnetize our message. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. And I realize I'm going through a lot here. This is my LAPD, my tracker, leads, appointments, deals. And then what I have is what I call my AVP. And my AVP is a mental anchor for me to understand where my audience is at. And what I've got is the current state, what's going on in their day-to-day right now, what they're feeling, thinking, what's happening in their day-to-day. Not this book. That doesn't mean anything, by the way. Trying to describe your coaching or the problem in generic terms will not work. So what we're trying to do is define what they're feeling. They see what's not working, everything they're feeling, what they see that's going on. Maybe they're fearing they have to quit their go and get a job, all that kind of stuff that's going on. This is what they're seeing and feeling right now. And this is what they want to see and feel in the future. In other words, how their life or business or career will change. So there's where I am right now versus where I want to be. So in this AVP, I get all my clients to fill it in. We've got GPTs to help them do it. So we really work with them. Most of the coaches I work with, they go, oh my God, I've never had this much clarity about my business and how I help people before in my life. It's like a major breakthrough. And it's just because we've mentally clarified it up here, and that clarity here will come out of your content, into your profile, into your approach, and that makes it way easier. Often people think there's a secret algorithm hack and that will solve their problem. It's not. It's their lack of clarity, lack of focus spilling out into LinkedIn. So when we done that AVP exercise, and I'll happily give you the worksheet if you want it, just DM me and I'll send you the worksheet. Now what we do, for us to get leads and clients, we have to use these things here. And this is what's called in the marketing world agitation. And you get leads because you're speaking to the problem and the future state at the same time. If you just talk to the problem, you'll be a negative Nelly. Yeah. If you talk to the future, you'll attract dreamers. But those two things together, the problem and where they want to be, where they are and where they want to be, when you put them together, really kind of contrasting them together, you actually create agitation. And that provokes people, and I know I'm using provocative language, provokes people to actually take action, to actually take a leap and do something. If you just use dreamers, outcomes, future state, you attract dreamers, people who are kind of like, oh, I'd love to do this and I'd love to do that, but they will not put their money or their effort where their mouth is. And then you've got, if you just speak to the problems and the pains, one, you won't get engagement because guess what? Nobody wants to admit in public, that's me, but you won't get engagement. But also when you do get a lead, you will attract somebody so desperate in such bleak situations, you may not want to take them on as a client. So you've got to understand this agitation is about finding the people who have a healthy level of discomfort and have a want to change. And the agitation piece brings them to the surface, brings that out. If you don't do that, it all comes apart. So now we're into the systems part, and this is where it gets really interesting for you guys. There's actually 5 ways to get leads and clients on LinkedIn. But when you're a coach, and I'm just being brutally honest, right? Very often, these 2 on the right here, hyper-targeted prospecting and social engagement, are a no-no. And they're a no-no because coaching is trust built. It's about trust. You could have the best program in the world. You could be the best coach in the world. You could do all of those things, but fundamentally, I've got to connect with you as a coach. I've got to connect with you. So the last thing you want is to get leads and then the gel is off. The vibe is off and it's not feeling, because what you've done is wasted time marketing to get a lead of somebody who just doesn't feel you. And I know I'm speaking in very woolly, woo-woo language, but it's just how it works. Coaching is a trust-based thing. Even in a corporate, it's about a learning and development person bringing you in. They're going to go, is this person somebody I can trust in my organization, or will the flack come back on me? An individual looking to you for coaching. Do I think I can share how I'm feeling with this person? Do they get me? Do I feel comfortable doing that? All of that stuff comes up. So I tend to tell coaches to avoid outreach in this way because there's no trust, right? There's no trust. And so it is much better to build the trust first and get the leads. And that doesn't have to be a long time. Don't think that has to be a long time. But I'd rather coaches build the trust so that when they get a lead, it's because somebody likes them too. It's not just, oh, you've got a great coaching package, right? It's about they've bought into you as well. So there's really only 3 ways to do that, and that's these first 3. So it's newsletters, email newsletters, and webinars. Yeah, sorry, email list and newsletters. This is really good from a long-term point of view. Most coaches I've spoke to massively undervalue how they use their email list. They just send little updates about this is what I've been up to, and da-da-da. No, your newsletter is about building trust. It's about agitating that problem. Agitation again. It's not about making people feel good. I know that as coaches, you want to do that, but you have to actually make them see their problem. You have to help them uncover it. You are great at, if you think about it, coaching. This marketing style I'm talking to you is coaching, because what I'm saying is you have to help them realize where the problem is. If you're not doing that, you are failing them as a coach, even in your email list. You're failing them as a coach because your email list's job is to help them realize where their problem is. And so agitation can help that. Not in a provocative way, not saying they're useless or, anything like that. But they've got to have that sensation of something's brewing here, something's not right. I need to work on something. And yeah, that person said that, and I'm feeling that. I see that now. That's what we've got to be doing in our email list, not just giving people 5 tips to do this and all that kind of stuff. That's the very popular thing that people do to get engagement. But if we want clients, it's different. So there's email newsletters, there's content that converts. Now, this is not just about posting about, hey guys, here's my coaching program. Do you want to buy it? That will get you nowhere. And likewise, trying to win a popularity contest on LinkedIn will be an endless pursuit of engagement and popularity that will yield no clients. I know of many LinkedIn influencers who've quit and got jobs because it's very difficult to financially make it work. Most of the people who get high engagement are being paid by brands to promote things. And so they can afford to spend time crafting those posts and spending 2, 3, 4 hours engaging with people to get engagement back. You cannot do that. So instead, your content has to also be that magnetization, that agitation. So it's creating that healthy tension in people that stirs up so they want to know more. All lead generation is about actually stirring up and creating that curiosity gap that maybe I could be further on. Maybe I don't have to live with this. It's not about overloading people with information and coaches. Sorry, I'm going to pick on you again. You're terrible for doing this, for giving too much information. Terrible. Sorry. Um, and I've seen this when coaches do webinars and they go into teacher mode. I'm doing it now, but it's because I'm passionate about what I do and I want to help you. But if you want clients from this, if you want clients from what you're doing, teaching is not the way to do it. What happens is you go, whoa, whoa, Steve, you just gave me so much in that post, or so much in that email. That was incredible. Let's go and do that now. That's what you do. So in your content, wherever it is, if you go into too much teaching mode, what you do is give people a Christmas lunch or a Thanksgiving lunch. And you know what happens when you have a Christmas lunch or a Thanksgiving lunch? Straight afterwards, you go, I'm so full, I couldn't eat any more for a month. And you inadvertently give your audience a meal when what you should be doing is giving them a sample, like, the taste this, and you taste it. Oh, that's amazing. I can't wait for more. Simple mistake. And that's what agitation does. Now, the one I recommend for most coaches, and I'll tell you why I recommend it, and I'm going to show you how it works, is the events and the webinars. And I'll tell you why. It's the fastest way to build trust with people. Fastest way to build trust. So hosting an event, getting people into your event, and then hearing from you, sharing your insights, sharing experiences, seeing that you understand their situation is really powerful. And then after that event, inviting some of them to chat with you. It's much easier, it's lighter. You've changed the nature of the relationship. They've been listening to you. They understand that you understand them. All of that changes the nature of your relationship from they're just a random connection to, Maria. I don't know who Maria is, but Maria, you understand me. You get me. It's like you're describing my exact situation. How can we do that, by the way? How can we go onto an event? How can we go onto an event and do a webinar and people thinking, Maria understands my situation almost exactly. How does she understand my situation so like she's psychic? Because we've defined who we're doing it, we've defined what problem we're solving, we've defined the audience, and we've defined the message. So anybody coming to our event is coming for the exact same reasons as what we sell. So the conversion is easier. Make sense? Hopefully this is making sense for you. And you're probably having light bulbs going off right now going, oh my God, I'm suddenly realizing why this has been a struggle. I'm realizing why I've been missing this, because actually all of these little things out of alignment here have actually made it so difficult for me that I've started to doubt my own, I've lost confidence in myself. I've started to question whether even people need it. I've started to even think about whether I need to focus on doing something else. Why? I thought it was all me. No, it's little things out of alignment. And when you put them all into alignment, you end up with resonance. But you also end up with speed on your side. So we've knocked out a ton of complexity from this process. Now, I get some of you will struggle with defining one problem and defining an audience where the problem overlap is tight. I understand why you'll do that, and you'll struggle with it for one reason, because it will feel like you're taking three-dimensional you and making yourself one-dimensional. It'll feel like you're shrinking yourself a little bit because you're saying, yeah, but I feel like I'm boxing myself in. And you are as a person boxing yourself in a little bit. And that's okay for now. For now. Think about it like this. If you go from getting all of your clients to referrals, and I'll just say, by the way, stat here, 50%, the top most successful coaches today have a revenue mix where 50% of their revenue, their client base is referral based, and 50% is lead generation and marketing based. So you need that mix. Wouldn't it be better if you're getting all of your clients from referrals right now? Let's say you need 1 or 2 clients. Most coaches don't need many clients, 12 a year, maybe 10 a year. But let's say it's 10 a year. Or, and let's say well, let's do it for easy, 20. Let's just for ease, 20. Or, so let's say 1 a month is coming now by referrals, and you get now your marketing is delivering 1 or 2 a month. So you're now not reliant on referrals. So if you have a dry patch on referrals, it's okay because you've got other clients coming in. So you've got this nice mix of marketing clients, referral clients coming in. So it's now a healthy mix. So you've got those coming in, and now you've got more money coming in. So you've got more money coming into your practice. Great. So here's what you can put some of that money aside to get some help to expand your offering then, to expand your offering. But if you kind of try and go, well, how can I appeal to as many people as possible right now so I can get some clients? You're actually complicating. So I always say to people, shrink down a little bit, focus in a little bit, get that working, make some money, get it reliable, and then expand out when you've got, as we do it from a position of strength, not a position of weakness. If you're expanding outwards because you're vulnerable, because of you're reliant on referrals, you're basically making your life harder be out of fear, when actually you want to make it easier out of focus. Make it simpler, more straightforward with focus. So these events, I'm going to show you what this looks like. So let me just switch screens a minute. So I share this with people all the time because people say, Dean, surely you're just giving your whole model away here. Yes, I am. I am. But the secret here for me is not the model. You know, anybody you can copy, you can screenshot this and you go and have a go yourself. But I often find that what people need is the support, the coaching, and the one-to-ones to help this process work effectively. It's not really, oh, I know how to put this up. I know how to send an email. I know how to send a message. I know how to book an appointment. I know how to use Zoom to book an appointment. I know how to book a proposal. It's the flow of it all going together to actually achieve an outcome is where people struggle. It's not this diagram. You know, I was horrendous with this. I would go onto people's webinars and I would take screenshots of everything. But I realized that the way it works is the nuance between how these work. So this is how the events work, right? So first off, host a LinkedIn event. I do these every week on my profile. I'm insane, but you should do one a month. That event needs to speak to a problem, a key problem that your audience face. Again, problem centric. Use the magnetise again to bring people there. You're going to deliver your event and not overdo it, not teach hard teach, not kind of go over the top. Because if you go over the top, you get Thanksgiving lunch, Christmas lunch. That was amazing, but I really need to digest what it is, and you're not going to get a conversation. If you teach and you over deliver, it's not going to go, oh, wow, that was amazing. I obviously need to work with you. That will not happen. What will happen is go, that was so incredible, Dean. Thank you so much. I'm going to go and do this myself, or I need to just think about what you've said and I'll come back later, and they never do. So you've got to deliver that magnetized message, that agitation that is a healthy level of value, but not actually too much. So in that event, you're going to get 150 signups. Now, how do you get 150 signups? Well, if you're growing your network with the right audience, high intent audience, and you put an event on that speaks to a future state, current state, the agitation message, they will choose to come for themselves. There's mechanisms to do it. You don't have to pitch people or hammer people in the DMs, but there's mechanisms on LinkedIn that you can use to get people there. And you're going to get 150. Now, in my accelerator, I say to people, we are going to get you 150 signups to your event. It's going to happen. I'm so confident. I've done this for 5 years. I am so confident. So 150 signups. Out of that, you're going to get 20 or so warm leads. Yeah. They're not going to go, here's my money. When do I sign up? 20 or so warm leads. There's various different ways, DMs, you can send them a recap email, all that kind of stuff. So Then you've got 20 warm leads. Just 20. What happens to the 150? Put them in your newsletter. Ask them, do you want to join your newsletter? And you can send them weekly updates. You've just done the newsletter pack as well. 20. 150 signups to 20. And out of those 20 warm leads, the target is to get 10 calls. Not because you need 10 clients. You don't need 10 clients. But I'm assuming, and experience has told me this, that if you're used to referrals, you, how do I say this without sounding horrible? Maybe I'll just say it, and you'll have to forgive me. If you're used to referrals, right, there's a thing in the sales industry called being an order taker. Now, it's a derogatory term that is used for salespeople who just convert clients that would have converted anyway. So it's not saying that, it's basically saying if somebody says to a salesperson, you're just an order taker, they're saying there was no skill in that call, there was no skill in that sale. They were going to buy anyway, and it was yours to mess up. It was yours to mess up. What that means is if you're used to referrals, they are yours to mess up. But when you're dealing with marketing leads, you have to be more thorough and more systematic in how you approach those, because they're not settled on coaching is the way. That's what you're going to help them see on the call. You're not going to tell them, you're going to help them see that coaching is the way. If you don't do that, they'll go, you're a nice person, I like what you're doing, but I'm not sure coaching is for me, because you haven't shown them how it will help them solve the problem well. And if you're used to referrals, you'll end up being an order taker. And I'm not talking about being manipulative or pressure selling here. I'm talking about how you run that call and how you run that conversation so that you demonstrate your value. If you've done that with a referral, it's a completely different scenario, different context, there's a different backstory there. You've got somebody glowing, telling you it was amazing already. So they're already half in. So we get that appointment, you do that call, do that proposal. So I work on worst case scenarios here, that if you get 5 calls that go well, out of 10, you get 50% of them that go well, that you can get 40% closed. But let's say worst case scenario, 20%. So 2 in 10. That means you're going to get 2 clients a month, right? That's a process you can follow. That takes you 30 minutes a day on LinkedIn. 30 minutes. How much time have you spent on LinkedIn posting, messaging, doing all this crazy stuff and got nothing from it? You've just spent a lot of time. And this is a process you can do in 30 minutes a day. And it's trust focused. People don't trust you, they won't buy from you. And you've got to build that trust up front. 75% of my clients that have come to me from LinkedIn, 75% that have come to me from LinkedIn, 75% have been to 2 of my LinkedIn events. 2. 75%. So this is the pathway you should be following. Now, you've got to get people from leads to appointments to proposals to deals. Now, I'm sure you're going, Dean, I want to do this. I'm excited by this. Well, I can help you. And I'll just leave this with you. And I'll just talk through this for you a minute. Our accelerator, if you want to join, if you're a coach and you want to go, let's do this, I've got a program that you can join, and there's different levels for different budgets and different support that you need. So let's say, for an example, you're a coach and you're starting out and you don't have a lot of money. You can do our self-paced process. So you could, or maybe you're a coach and you're kind of a bit marketing savvy and you just want to avoid the learning curve and the blind spots that might be there. You can jump in, get started today, and join the accelerator. Like $1,345. I got the typo wrong there, but $1,345. It's self-paced with group coaching every week. So you join and you're in forever. Pro membership is where you get support from me. I'll walk you through this in a minute for the first 4 weeks, and then you go into the group support and membership. And then the elite is where I work one-to-one with you through the whole journey, through you getting your leads, you're following up the works. So you're getting the actual success, and we're supporting you all the different things all the way through the process. And let me just show you what that process looks like, because this is how it works. So whether you're a coach and you're going on to the self-service version, or you want one-to-one work with me and we're going through everything together. So you're not on your own in any of the scenarios, but you get more involvement. So I've had calls with clients this morning. I've got calls with them next week, and we do this step by step for accountability. But the first stage of this is to have a chat, whether it's with me or one of my team. And if you think it's a good fit for you, we onboard you. We get you access to the portal, links to all of our calls, links to the one-to-ones, and then you have your one-to-one sessions. So the one-to-one sessions are to knock down these 4 barriers that have probably stopped you already from getting clients. The first one is the clarity piece. The second one is that audience piece. Who do you go after? Which is the best audience? These 2 have held you back already. We knock them down together. Then the third one is that agitation piece, building that AVP so that you actually get that clarity of message so it resonates. It moves the right people. It stirs the right people to action. And then we need to get that system running. So the events, what do you need to put in place to get all that working, get your profile very, very clear, get all the stuff in place in week 4 so that you're ready to go. And then we support you into 100 days of leads. That is focused, not template, tick box checklist. I know what I'm doing each day. This is what I do today. This is what I do today. 30 minutes. Push, all the way through for your 3. Now, if that's the events, that would be 3 events. So that would be 450 leads over 3 events for a coach, 150 leads. My question to you if you're considering this program, and feel free to message me, Dean said, message me and say, Dean, I want to talk about it, and I'll walk you through a plan. I'll literally walk you through a plan on a call. The question you have to do is, can you devote 30 minutes a day? Are you serious about building your own practice? And if you got 450 leads with our support, worst case scenario, can you convert 3? Can you, on a call, out of 450 leads, can you get 3 clients? If they're exactly the right persona, coming into your events, 450, you get some on a call, can you convert 3? Because that's 1 client a month. And then you can repeat that. And whichever membership you join, you have lifetime access to the group coaching, lifetime access to our weekly calls, lifetime access to our portal and library with all the templates, the tools, the videos, everything you need to do this. So this is how you build a coaching business on LinkedIn. And just to show you, I practice what I preach. I'm doing it right now. I'm literally doing it right now. So if you'd like to talk about how this works, you want to know more, drop me a DM. We'll have a little chat. It might be for you. It might not be for you. And that's absolutely fine. But what's certain is, number 1, you cannot rely on referrals, because they will run dry. They will be patchy. You cannot just post content and hope it all comes together. You need a process and a system. And that's what we can help you deliver. And that's what we can help you build in the Accelerator. So you are 4 weeks away. As I stand today, if you signed up to the Accelerator today, you are 4 weeks away from making that impact and getting launched and building a system to build your coaching business.